Hello everyone, my name is Adeesha and welcome to this channel Learn with Adeesha. In this video, we will be covering the very first topic of the grade 9 Edexcel Mathematics of the IGCSE curriculum. So, the first unit has several parts, those being number 1, algebra 1, graphs 1, shape and space 1 and sets. As of now, we will only be focusing on number 1. In fact, we're going to focus on the very first topic. The rest of the topics, including the rest of the topics in the whole book, book 1 and book 2, will be for later and future videos. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So, fractions. As the name suggests, fractions are a part of the whole. For example, if I draw a circle and divide it in half, this part of the circle, which is 1/2 of the circle, would be written as 1/2. This is one of the most popular ways to show fractions and is most commonly used in beginner level learning of fractions, such as grades 4 to 6. You'd most likely find shade the shape questions in those grades. But since we are focusing on grade 9, let's move on to more advanced topics. Now we'll be covering some more advanced topics, including improper fractions and mixed fractions. First of all, you have to know that there are 3 types of fractions. The first one are proper fractions. Proper fractions are fractions where the numerator, the number on the top, is less or equal to the denominator, the number on the bottom. For example, 1/2 or 3/7. You see here, this is the numerator. This is the denominator. Evidently, 1 is less than 2. But we could also consider 2/2 a proper fraction. It is still a fraction, although this is just equal to 1. So, remember this. It's an important rule that whenever the top part of a fraction, the numerator, is exactly equal to the bottom part of the fraction, the denominator, the fraction is equal to 1. This is because fractions are just one part, the numerator, divided by another part, the denominator. So 1/2 or 1/2 is equal to 1 divided by 2. Pretty simple, isn't it? The second type of fraction, improper fractions. These are fractions where the numerator is greater than the denominator. For example, 6/5 or let's say 200/170. In both of these examples, these are improper fractions, mainly based on the fact that their numerator, the top value, is greater than their denominator, the bottom value. And last but not least, the third type, mixed fractions. So, mixed fractions, or mixed numbers as they are usually called, you can call them either one, they're both correct, are usually comprised of a number, a whole number, and a fraction. But in this case, the fraction cannot be an improper fraction. It must be a proper fraction. Let's take the example of 1 and 3/5. 1 and 3 divided by 5, or 1 and 3/5. It's a mixed number. Now, an important part about mixed numbers is that they can be converted back into improper fractions, and improper fractions can then also therefore be converted into mixed numbers. Let me show you how. First, what you would do is multiply this value by the denominator. So 1 times 5 equals to 8. So you would take the 8 and add it to the numerator. So multiply by the bottom value, take the product and add it to the numerator. In this case, you would get 8, that's 5. In this case, you will get 5 plus 3, 8 divided by 5. And there you have it, people. Now, how do I convert an improper fraction back into a mixed number? You might be wondering that, and it's a little bit complex, but over time, you will get used to it. So let's take the prior example, 8 divided by 5. Now, you will try to see how many 5 out of 5s fit here, aka how many 5s you can subtract from the numerator before you can't subtract 5 anymore. Basically, divide the number. So 8 divided by 5 is equal to 5 divided by 5 plus 3 divided by 5. As we know, if a fraction has both the numerator and denominator equal to a common value, then in that case, the fraction is equal to 1. And we'll just add the rest of the fraction. So 1 and 3 out of 5, and we get our previous answer. You have to practice this concept a lot to get used to it. But once you do, it'll become like clockwork to you. So, now moving on to a slightly more advanced part, which some of you I know may not understand, but you can rewind and rewatch this video as many times as you need. Now, moving on to fraction addition and fraction subtraction. Remember, any type of number can be a negative number, including fractions. So don't be surprised if your exam papers include negative fractions in them. Now then, let's take the case of 1 divided by 5 plus 3 divided by, let's say, 7. Now, how do we add these values? First of all, let's start with an easier setup. Let's change the 7 to a 5. Now in this case, what you would do is you would take the denominator and keep it the same, but you would add the numerators together. So 1 plus 3 is equal to 4. So 1 over 5 plus 3 over 5 is equal to 4 over 5. Pretty simple, right? Now what you may have noticed here is that you need the denominators to be common. For example, here it's 5 and 5. Both of them are a common value. But what happens if we change it to, let's say, 7? In this case, let's use our prior mathematics knowledge and recall what we learned in the past. Now, what we have to do for this question is we have to find the lowest common multiple, or LCM, of 5 and 7. Now, since both of these cannot be divided by anything, our only option is to take both of them and multiply them together. So in this case, 7 would multiply by this entire fraction, and 5 would multiply by this entire fraction. So 1 over 5 times 7 over 7. In this case, that would be 7 over 35. Then you would multiply 5 by this fraction and get 15 over 35. Now in this case, you just need to add. Now that we have a common denominator, let's take the denominator, keep it the same, and add 7 plus 15. That's going to be 22. So now we have our answer, 22 divided by 35. Alright, so just a quick side note on a common type of question that you might see, or a common prompt seen in examinations. Now, here's the thing. Most of the time, examiners won't accept an answer such as 1,250 divided by 1,300. Of course, that is not what they want. They don't want big, clunky numbers. They want simple numbers. Now, this is called simplification. I'll show you how to do it. Basically, let's take an example. 15 divided by 35. Like the prior example. Now, 15 is equal to 3 times 5. And 35, as we all know, is equal to 7 times 5. So, we have a common factor here. And since this is a division equation, we can cancel these out, leading to a final answer of 3 by 7. By means divided by, mind you. This is how you would simplify a fraction, by finding out its common denominator, by finding out the common factors between the top value and the bottom value, the numerator and the denominator, and cancelling them all out. Here's the thing, you may only cancel one iteration of a common factor with another iteration of the same value if it's on the opposite side. So if I were to take something like, let's say instead of 15, we had 15 times 5, which would be, so 45 plus 30, 75. So 75 by 35. Now this would be 7 times 5 divided by 3 times 5 times 5. And in this case, you will only be able to cancel one of these 5s from each side. So you would be left with 15 over 7. Simple, isn't it? Moving on to fraction subtraction. It's more of the same deal actually. I'm not going to lie, you just do the same steps for fraction addition, but just for subtraction. Now then, moving on to fraction subtraction. Fraction subtraction is mainly the same deal as fraction addition, but just with subtraction. It's pretty simple. Let me show you. Let's take 3 over 10 minus 2 over 10. Now, you would still take the same denominator, divide by 10, and just subtract these two values, leading to 1 over 10. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now then, let's take another case. 3 divided by 11 and 2 divided by 5, let's say. Now again, you would do the same thing and multiply, or cross multiply in this case. So 11 times 2 divided, so 11 divided by 11 times 2 divided by 5. 11 times 2 is 22, and 11 times 5 is 55. So we have 22 divided by 55. Now let's calculate this part. So 22 divided by 55. And now let's calculate this part. What should go here? So 3 divided by 11 times 5 over 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 11 times 5 is 55. So we have 15 divided by 55 minus 22 divided by 55. As I said before, you don't need to panic because negative numbers, including negative fractions, are quite popular in this realm. So in this case, let's take the same denominator, divide by 55, and then we'll do the subtraction. 15 minus 22. Can you do that for me? I will calculate it on my own, and I'll give you 5 seconds to tell me the answer. Have you gotten the answer? If you said the answer was 7, you would be correct. Congratulations. So now we have our final answer, 7 divided by 55. But wait, you might notice a problem. That problem is, if you were smart, you would have recognized that I didn't put the minus sign. I wanted to see if you would catch that, and for those of you that did, kudos. I am proud of you. So we would add minus 7 divided by 55. Mind you, they can also present it like minus the fraction 7 divided by 55. This is still the same thing. Now then, moving on to the last two topics, fraction multiplication and fraction division, which are, quite frankly, much simpler than these last two topics, addition and subtraction. Now then, let's take a complex fraction multiplication. Let's say 3 divided by 5 times 2 divided by 7. Alright, let's take this. What we would do here is 3 times 2 divided by 5 times 7. No cross multiplication required, no simplification needed. This is all you have to do, and it's quite simple. In this case, you would get 6 divided by 35. Wow, that was actually kind of quick. So, all you have to do is multiply the numerators to form the new numerator. Multiply the denominators to form the answer's denominator. And that is all for multiplication. Division is mostly the same, but with one small twist. Literally. So 3 divided by 5 divided by 2 divided by 7. In this case, what you would do is you would take the reciprocal of this fraction, the divisor. What is the reciprocal, you might ask? The reciprocal is what happens when you divide this by 1, aka just flip the fraction over. So in this case, you would say this is equal to 3 divided by 5 something 7 over 2. Now can you guess what this hidden operation is? If you guessed multiplication, you would be right. So in this case, you flip the fraction over, flip the operation over to multiplication, and then there you have it. You just do the steps. 3 times 7 divided by 5 times 2, which is 21 divided by 10. And there we have it. The unit of basic fractions is completed. Now then, tune into our next video for the next topic that we'll cover. The order of operations such as PEMDAS, BIDMAS, BODMAS, and more. So, until then, stay curious, stay safe, and keep studying. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.